Okay, so in this video, we are going to break down exactly why you struggle with consistency and how to fix it for good. I'm going to use my experience and my context of how I solve this problem, and if you want to just put it into the context in which you're currently experiencing to work out the steps that you need to take going from this. So, first of all, in the past, I have really relied on dopamine to get me to do something. So, for example, I would go through stages, and I've been through this stage plenty of times with the gym and working out. I would go through a stage of right, this is it. This is the time that everything's going to change. I get the trainers, I get the gear, I buy the protein shakes, I join the gym, I get the PT, and I work like for a good month or two solidly, and then the plateau comes in, the boring stage of like, okay, I've been doing this for a while now, and the progress that I seen at the beginning has kind of happened, and now I'm just like steadily going along and not really getting any excitement from it. So that whole initial thing at the beginning has died away, and now I've just got to turn up at the gym and just do this and not have the new kit and not be excited about the progress that can be made because I've made some progress and now it's just like it takes longer to make progress. Um, so that's the trap that happens with the dopamine. The novelty wears off, the motivation goes, and that's I'll miss a session this week, and it doesn't matter if I miss a couple of sessions and then go back to it, and then you've missed more sessions than you can count, and you've just reverted back to your old identity. So they all interlink with each other. Um, so the identity conflict is you're struggling to be consistent because you're not only trying to change that behavior, like, so for example, I was somebody that would not consistently work out, not be somebody that would go to the gym. I would be somebody identity wise that would start things, get so far, and then give up and revert back to old ways. Again, identity was attached to the habits of the eating, the takeaways, the alcohol, all of those things. Oh yeah, when I get to this weight or this goal, I can continue doing those things. And it's that whole identity shift that has to go with the behavior, because you can't live the behavior but not identify with being that person of that behavior. It's a whole lifestyle shift, not just I'm going to turn up to the gym and then I'm going to do this at the weekends, and I'm going to only, I don't know, do 5 sessions a week and then eat healthy, and then, oh, it's okay, I'm going to have a couple of weeks off and go back to, do you know, see what I mean? There's that constant conflict of, oh, actually, who am I? So it's getting clear on aligning yourself internally and externally together with the identity that you want to carry going forward. And again, this all comes in, they all interlink together because the friction problem is attached to the identity problem as well. Because, again, my example, my environment was set up in a way that allowed the habits of my old identity to really easily come into play. Whereas that new identity that I needed to create at that time was not aligned with the habits that I was consistently doing. For example, the everything in my environment home wise was computer games, takeaway menus, cupboards full of junk. And I was trying to shift to this new identity of somebody that works out, somebody that's healthy. But there was a friction there because none of it was matching up and none of it was aligning. So it's understanding what how you can reduce that friction and how you can either remove it completely or how you can reduce it so it doesn't impact that new identity that you're creating. So, how this can all change. First of all, you've got to remove the dopamine and insert discipline. And discipline, like I've said here, it's not extreme. It's not that David Goggins style. You need to get up at 3:30 in the morning. And you need to do this, and you need to. It's not that extreme. It can be if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be, again, getting real clear on like why you are going on this journey. So for me, back when I started my final fitness journey, like it was like creating the why I was going on that journey. And before, it was just to lose weight. Before, it was like, right, okay, I need to lose weight, I need to get healthy, I need to get fit, and I'd get to a certain stage where I'd be comfortable, and then again reverting back to the old identity. So it's getting clear on why you want to go on this journey. And at the time, I was like, I can no longer continue in the direction that I'm continuing in, because it's not going to stay the same. It's only going to get worse. And that identity that I was going down into the path of wasn't the identity I was currently at. It was like changing that identity completely to somebody that I was so far removed from that I was like, right, okay, something needs to change, because in a minute this identity is going to go here, and actually my identity is here, and I'm sitting in this middle bit. So it's getting clear on why you want to make the change, and try understanding it in the internal sense rather than the external sense. So how I used to go on my fitness journeys, okay, I want to be this weight, I want to get to this weight, I want to lose weight, I want to weight was the main factor. Okay, actually, I want to create a lifestyle whereby I can be physically active in the things that I enjoy doing. It wasn't about weight, it was about being able to be comfortable and physically active in the things I enjoy doing, hiking, surfing, etc., etc. And this is the next step. Like, start so small it barely makes a difference. So get clear on why you want to go on this journey, and then start so small it barely makes a difference. And this is really hard to do, especially if you're in the mindset of that all or nothing like I am. Like, I would be like, right, everything needs to change. I can't like start working out unless I've got a whole new diet, and I've got this planner here and this schedule here, and everything literally went from one identity to a completely new identity, and then that whole gap in between was too far apart to be able to shift to that identity, because it was that all or nothing mindset. So starting really, really small, so it barely makes a difference, is hard to do, because that dopamine isn't really there. So that's why the discipline over the dopamine is important to install, because the dopamine will only be there for that big shift, or that, oh yeah, let's go type thing. Whereas the discipline will be the person, the identity that shows up. Okay, I'm somebody that walks every day. So starting the small, barely making a difference, you could be walking 2,000 steps a day, and you could change that. Okay, like, my steps are going to be 4,000 a day, and that's the identity I'm carrying. And it's such a small shift that it's barely noticeable, but it's achievable. It's really, really achievable. That's what you want to aim towards. Why? Because it builds awareness of like where you're at. And then it also, like, once you start to do this and show yourself that you can make these changes, and then you are that disciplined person, that builds confidence and trust within yourself. And that's why, again, it's so important to start small, because the big things are normally like, oh, well, I can't do that, or that's not achievable, or you're only able to maintain it for like a certain period of time before you crash and burn. So the next thing is the identity. It's removing that conditioning of that's who you are. And also, this, very, very important, I want to, I am. like the identity, again, bringing it back to me, the identity I used to carry is I want to be fit, I want to be healthy, I want to be somebody that goes to the gym. And even though I was doing those things, going to the gym and doing those things, I still had the mentality that I want to be this person. When in actual fact, I am that person because I am going to the gym. I am doing the things that align with that identity. So and this is the identity shift because you're still living in the mindset of that identity while acting in this identity. And you need to change that I want to actually I am, and then the identity marries up. So it's about not forcing it as well, and instead aligning it. And this is again why that process needs to be nice and slow, because you can then understand, bring awareness to who it is you are, why you're doing this, like what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and rather than, oh, I'm not somebody that goes to the gym. For example, I don't go to the gym. I've built my own home gym because that's like the identity I am. I know for myself that I get overwhelmed and like sensory overload when I go to the gym. So that's a friction that like stops me from going to the gym because there's another barrier I have to overcome. So creating my own home gym is something that I've been working on for the last 3 years. And again, it's starting small and working up. Like if I had the gym set up that I have now, if I had that set up 3 years ago, I would have just looked at that like, oh fuck, what do I need to do? Like I've got so much kit, so much overwhelm. Like I literally started with some kettlebells and some bands and then built up from that. So it's not forcing it, instead aligning it, because the slower the process is, the more you're going to understand about yourself, the more you're going to be able to adapt and bring in things that serve you and add value. And then with the environment, it's creating and removing. So, like I've just said there, like I created the gym that I have now, but that was over a period of time. So it's slowly creating, slowly removing, slowly adding things that align with that identity that you've created, and slowly removing things that used to be part of that old identity that no longer serves you, no longer adds value. Um, and then it's making things easy to access, like automating things and removing the decision. Removing, like for me, again, like removing the decision to have to like go to the gym, drive to the gym, like 45-minute drive to the gym, 45-minute back. That's like there's a lot of friction there. So it was removing the friction, setting up a intentional space where I can do my workouts from home. So it's and then automating it is almost making it like cleaning your teeth. Like every morning you get up and you have a set like way of doing things. How can you automate your new identity, your new habits into those routines so it becomes like a natural process? And then that's again by making it easy, planning ahead, like putting it in place, understanding and attaching it to the why. Action steps to take away. First of all, get clear on your why. Why are you wanting to make change, and why you wanting to be consistent with this new thing, whatever it is? And go internal over external. So for example, the gym, the external would be the six pack, the certain weight. The internal would be physically being able to do the things that you want to be able to do physically. How is that going to enhance your day-to-day life, not the external? So gain clarity on the why and attach it to as many internal things as possible. Step 2, start small, real small, as small as you can start, to reduce that resistance and build that momentum. 3, habit stacking. This is like a great little tool to use. For example, like me getting into running. one of the things I would do on a daily basis is listen to podcasts. And I put a rule in place that I wasn't allowed to listen to a podcast unless I was running. I no longer go by that rule because I can do both now. So like it's both are easy entry barriers for me. But to start with, it was like, okay, if I want to listen to that podcast, I need to do it while I'm running. And it was a fun way to do it as well for me. So habit stacking, and then track the progress, but really importantly, to track the progress without expectation or fear of the failure or like the perfectionism. Like track it for the data rather than the emotion of tracking it. So focus on consistency over perfection. This could be like, for example, I'm just going to use running as an example. If you were planning to run 5 days a week, and like the runs were certain times or whatever, and you didn't manage to get a time, like, but you still went out and ran, like that is the consistency. It doesn't matter if you go for 15 minutes, but and you were aiming for half an hour. The fact is, you went out there and you didn't go to the zero. Like the consistency is always there, and it's just showing up. And what you'll find is when you show up when you don't feel like it, actually those are the days that you'll probably exceed expectations, or whatever it is. Like for example, the days I didn't feel like running, I got out running. The first bit was really hard, like had to like have that mental battle, and then I ended up like running as faster or further than I'd ever run before. So that's something in itself as well. Like when you don't feel like doing it and then you do it, but you do it above and beyond, it's like, oh wow, like it shows you actually what you are capable of, because you felt like you couldn't go out for a run, but then you actually went and went above and beyond. So again, showing up, no matter how you feel, the other side of that showing up is always a positive. Process over outcome. Try not to attach things to outcomes. Try and focus on the process. So rather than I want to run, um, I want to run like a 30-minute 5K. Okay, let's focus on the process of that. Like, how many sprint runs do I have to do? How many long distance runs do I have to do? How many times do I have to run a week? And it's getting that process, and it's showing up for that process, because what will happen over time is the outcome will naturally come. But if you're focusing on just on the outcome and like again attaching emotion to it, oh, like I've trained really really hard this week, and then I come to like do my test 5K and it's nowhere near 30, like that like you're seeking that dopamine again rather than actually just enjoying the process of doing it, and eventually that outcome will come. So just enjoy the process of doing it. Use habit trackers. A really good tool to use, again without emotion or um, attaching an outcome to it. It's just for data and understanding, and how I started. First of all, it wasn't even a habit tracker. It was just one of those step trackers of counting the steps, 10,000 steps, and just seeing that progress visually. It really does help with the consistency, and just yeah, back to this, a never zero day. So whatever the habit is that you're trying to get consistent with, it's for example working out. Um, if I've got to work out, just say working out 5 days a week, and you've got to work out, and you can't get around to doing it. You've had a busy day, whatever, like life has taken over. Just get down and do like 3 sets of press ups or sit ups or something. So it's you've still had it as part of your day. This is the consistency bit, like still being a part of your day. You've still said you were going to do the thing and you've done it. Yes, you might have not done it to the expected measure of like your workout, but you've still gone and done it. You've still shown yourself that you can trust yourself because you've still gone and done exercise. You've still shown yourself that you're showing up. Do you see what I mean? There's that difference there. and it's okay to not be able to perform what has been expected every single time, but just showing up and doing what you can, what your 100% looks like on that day is the difference there. So take away those, implement them how you feel fit, and yeah, enjoy consistently working on the habit you wanna be working on.